She looked happy, and it seemed so obvious at that moment that they should get married. But she still hadn't even given him a key. And then Mom hung up her suit, and I put all your notes in the box under my bed, and didn't look at them anymore. Anna Marie had her birthday party with 2 cakes, an awful one that Julia and I made for her, and a really good one that her dad made. Time passed. Anna Marie and Julia helped me install my playground on Main Street, and Julia's UFO finally got approved by Jay Stringer. I became Alice Evans' regular bathroom partner. We worked out a secret signal so that she wouldn't have to do the Mexican hat dance anymore. Marcus and I waved hello to each other, and we sometimes talked a little, except when he didn't notice I was there, which was about half the time. In early March, we started rehearsing songs for graduation. I kissed Colin a few more times, and I suspected that Jay Stringer was working up the nerve to kiss Anna Marie. I don't think anyone dared to kiss Julia. Sal's cast came off, and he started playing basketball in the alley again. A couple of times I waved at him from the window, and once he yelled up to say hi and asked if I wanted to check out his 3-point shot, which he lined up for about 5 minutes and then missed. I clapped anyway, and he took a bow. I tried to forget about the laughing man. I tried to forget about you. But it didn't work. There was something left over, the letter I was supposed to write. This is the story I need you to tell. Please deliver your letter by hand. You know where to find me. Trying to forget really doesn't work. In fact, it's pretty much the same as remembering. But I tried to forget anyway, and to ignore the fact that I was remembering you all the time. And then 3 weeks ago, Mom's postcard came from the $20,000 pyramid. April 27th, Studio TV 15. The last proof. That's when I officially gave up the forgetting and started doing all this thinking. I have the story laid out in my mind now, as straight as it's ever going to be. And now I'm wondering if I should just write the letter, even though you're dead and most likely buried on that island. I wonder if I should write it anyway, if maybe then I'll be able to stop thinking about you once and for all. The $20,000 pyramid. Richard, Louisa, and Sal are coming with us to ABC Studio TV 15 on West 58th Street to see Mom try to win $20,000. Miranda, can you get me my sweater with the little buttons? Mom asked. She's nervous and her voice sounds too high. If it's chilly in there, I won't be able to concentrate. Mom, it's 70 degrees out, I say. Exactly, they might have the air conditioning on. I'm always too cold in air conditioning. I get the sweater and check myself out again in Mom's closet mirror. I have on new jeans and a long-sleeve shirt with flowers embroidered on the sleeves that I borrowed from Julia. Richard has even polished my shoes for me with his special shoe brush. I try to fluff my hair, but my brain says, "What in the world are you fluffing your hair for? You know your hair doesn't fluff." And I stop. Richard buzzes from the lobby. Mom rushes to the intercom and yells, "We'll be right down," and "Happy birthday." We walk downstairs and stop at Sal and Louisa's door, which flies open as if they've been standing right inside waiting for us. "The big day," Louisa says. "Big day, big day, big day." She seems even more nervous than Mom. I look at Sal and he shrugs and says, "She's been like this all morning." We are very quiet on the subway. There are people in red blazers by the studio doors. Contestants to the left, one of them says. Audience to the right. And suddenly I realize it's time to say goodbye to Mom. She's standing there looking terrified and holding on to her bag with her sweater and her extra clothes and her barrettes. I go over and hug her while Richard gives her a kiss, and Louisa says, "We love you." And Sal looks at the floor and says, "Good luck." "You're gonna win," I say. "I know it." "Don't get your hopes up," Mom says, and then we watch her disappear behind a door. We walk into the studio, which is like a theater with all the $20,000 pyramid stuff up on the stage. Dick Clark's podium is there, and the word screens that swivel back and forth during the speed round, and 2 empty chairs facing each other in the winner's circle. Everything looks artificial and kind of gloomy in the dim light. I'm thinking that one good shove could probably knock the whole thing over. There are a lot of people in the theater already, and we get seats about halfway back. They are red, velvety seats, the kind you have to fold down before you sit in them. A guy with headphones comes out and talks to the audience about when to clap and when to be quiet. He points to these metal boxes attached to the ceiling that light up like exit signs, only they say applause instead of exit. He explains that the signs will blink on and off to help us remember when to clap and when to stop. We have to practice with them. Clap, stop, clap, clap, stop. It's a little silly, but Louisa and Richard are taking it very seriously. Sal and I laugh and dare each other to clap at the wrong time. The stage lights come on, and suddenly the whole set is glowing like July at the beach. Much more cheerful, Richard takes my hand. Dick Clark comes out and says hi to the audience, and Louise starts talking about how she has always liked Dick Clark, how he has always seemed like one of the nicest people on television, and how now that she's seen him, she thinks she likes him even more. Isn't it amazing, she asks, how he never seems to age? He looks just the same today as he did back in 1956. She says she might ask him for some autographs after the show for the old people at her nursing home, because she's sure they would get a big kick out of that. Louisa is talking even faster than Miss Bendocker at the monthly tenant meeting. And then suddenly she is quiet. I look at her and see that she's biting her lips. Everything starts to happen very fast. There's music. Dick Clark makes a funny face, like he's afraid he might be late. And he hops over to his podium. The celebrities take the stage. I've never heard of either one of them. The next thing I know, Mom is coming out with her hair clamped back in barrettes, looking smaller than ever. But she's wonderful. The speed round is a thing of beauty. Mom gets 7 words out of 7 every time and wins the cash bonus. Her celebrity is not as dumb as a bag of hair. In fact, her celebrity is not remotely dumb. The other contestant is good, but his celebrity speaks too slowly and says the word bat while giving clues for the word batter, an amateur's mistake. They lose that point and a couple of others. Before I know it, Dick Clark is leading Mom over to the winner's circle. This is it, I hear Richard whisper to himself. $10,000. $10,000, my brain says. $10,000. Mom's celebrity looks determined. Mom looks scared. Dick Clark is smiling. He's the only one who looks relaxed. He's chatting with Mom for a minute, and I know Mom is trying to focus, to lift a corner of her veil so that she'll be able to see the big things, so she can see the thread. Dick Clark is still talking, and I realize we never practiced the chatting. I'm suddenly afraid. I am hearing the ocean. How can Mom lift her veil and see this magic thread with Dick Clark talking to her about her stupid job? I focus on Mom and try to help her concentrate. Louisa is getting nervous again, and she starts whispering about Dick Clark. He doesn't age, I tell you. Dick Clark simply does not age. It's amazing. I'm chanting to myself, magic thread, and I'm staring at Mom so hard that my eyes are almost aching. Finally, Dick Clark is done chatting. Here is your first subject, he says. Go. Then the strangest thing happens. Magic thread. Mom is jumping up and down, and I hear the sound of hundreds of people cheering and clapping, lifting me like a wave and carrying me. I am out of my seat. I am floating down the aisle. People are patting me on the back or reaching out to squeeze my arm. And then the stage is in front of me. I'm going up some steps, and then the light is everywhere, too bright, and it's hot. Mom is still leaping around. She is hugging her celebrity. She's hugging Dick Clark. One of her barrettes is down by the side of her face, hanging on for dear life and banging against her cheek. She hugs me and my head is pulled up and down as she jumps, so that I am forced to jump with her. I feel happy. I smile and grab Mom's hands and jump up and down with her. I let go of her and raise my arms over my head and feel the audience roar louder. I am not thinking of the wall-to-wall carpet or the camera or the trip to China. I am jumping up and down because at the very moment Dick Clark said the word go, it was like an invisible hand reached out and snatched away my veil, and for almost a minute I understood everything. When that veil isn't hanging down right in front of a person's face, a minute is long enough to realize a lot of things. I realized that when you took our key from the fire hose, when you left me the notes, when you stole Richard's shoes and Jimmy's Fred Flintstone bank, you had already read my letter. You had read it many times, even though I had not yet written it. That's how you knew where the key was, even before you asked. That's how you knew everything. I will tell you in my letter, the letter you asked me to write. But that's impossible, my brain squawked. You're saying the Laughing Man read a letter that you haven't even written yet. It makes no sense. Common sense is just a name for the way we've been used to thinking. Time travel is possible. You came to save Sal, and finally I understood. Dick Clark never ages. I thought of what Marcus had said about going to the movies in my time machine, that if I didn't leave until I was 62, the ticket guy wouldn't recognize me. I might not even recognize myself. Maybe Dick Clark never ages, but the rest of us will. I will. Sal will, thanks to you, and Marcus will too.